How you going, guys? So, oh God, what are we up to now? Is it episode 5 or
Episode 5.
it was 5? Oh, there we go. I'm still here. But yeah, this is
One memory for every finger, my love.
yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah. So this week we're going to be talking about basically the Shire and stuff, and I don't know, place where we grew up, I guess, and just talk about all the tiddly bits and the bits we still enjoy and the bits that have youths and so forth, and what it's become now, and yeah.
Yeah. We'll be conveniently leaving out certain stigmas to do with our hometown.
Yeah, all the hard stuff, I reckon. Yeah, it's
if anyone hasn't noticed already about the Dillon squad of Jacob and I, we're very white. We have nice eyes, but we also read and we're not racist. So it means that we're able to take an objective view about our hometown that others may not be able to. So we figured we'd cheer you up with a short and sweet expose into the Shire life. I'm sure that there are some viewers of our podcast into number 5 that grew up in the Shire, and we want to be able to paint a picture that is both hilarious and poignant.
Yes, like a fine wine that you buy in a box.
Yeah, like a box of, it's a French.
Yeah, Did I tell you the other day, man, there was a guy who got a Dan Murphy's in Caramel, which is a city in itself, I imagine. But yeah, it's a guy and he comes in with a trolley.
It's literally like Google Maps is just like a
Yeah, this old guy came in, right, this dusty wino, and he's got 15 cartons of wine. He's returning to the Dan Murphy's and goes, "The bloody son picked up the wrong goon." He's like, "Can I please return this and swap it for something else?" And I go, "Mate, like, why do you have 15 cartons of goon in the first place?"
Thus he was christened the Goon Bassoon.
my winter season stock of wine must be replenished.
He's like, "My palate still works after a glass." Bah!
Yeah, exactly. I prefer that box over this box. Yeah, if I'm gonna have 15 of them. But yeah. But yeah, where do you want to start, Sam? What do you reckon's a good venue or a good location? What are you feeling?
Well, Jacob and I, we grew up in the more, I guess, the upper decathlon or so of.
Yes, South Caringbah or Dillons Bay.
So we live in South Caringbah, Lillypilly, Dillons Bay. Whichever way you spin on it, it ain't Kirrawee. You know what I'm saying? We're near the beach. We have a train station. We also have a lot of council estates near the train station. We've got a couple of fish and chip shops, and we can see Bundeena and the national park from the end of our.
It's pretty much the best spot in the Shire. I reckon you get a bit of everything. You can tip your fingers.
The jewel of the Shire.
The jewel of the Shire. Yeah, I don't know. My favourite place growing up, and it was between the ages of about 14 to 17, I guess, was the old abandoned high school in Caringbah. That was always the jewel of my youth because I had no money and no job.
Tell the boys and girls out there of what this actually meant. Why was it shut down, Joe?
Well, it was they actually filmed Puberty Blues for a season. In the first season, that's where they went to school because it was like the old like Shire high school or whatever. But I think they shut it down for a few reasons. One was asbestos. And then I think it was actually sinking, like on the thing it was built, like the foundations weren't properly put in. So those things had to get all the kids out of there and move them down to like another high school down the road, where they put the other Caringbah High, which is where skate.
sounds like a cattle farmer. Like, let's get them out, boys.
Put them out now. It's like Titanic. Get them out of here. Only the women and children.
All these sons and daughters of boomers going the road.
But they put this like flimsy fence around it to stop people going in, but it didn't really stop anyone. So basically, all the lad kids and like junkies and stuff that are looking for copper pipes or anything, just all swarmed to have like a little, almost like a city would see in like Star Wars or something, or like the like the space pirates would go.
Oh yeah, a hive for the worst of the galaxy.
The worst villainy of the Shire.
They're also just like, by the way, here's my shark season pass.
Yeah, you got to find a season pass to get out of the city.
Yeah.
It's only enough for one, but I must take my wife. No. But, yeah, that was great. So I had a lot of great memories in there. I probably pumped a lot of asbestos by accident, which I've realised in the last few months. While I've been in there, so it's probably going to shorten my life a bit. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Eventually, someone burnt it down as well, which ruined it for everyone. I think it was some skater kids who were probably trying to, I don't know, skate over a pile of fire or something, and then ruined it all for the rest of us. But no, yeah, that was always fun because it was like your own little world, and run around amok.
Yeah.
And,
so you're no stranger growing up. Before we delve into my canon of Shire life, you're no stranger to a cul-de-sac or a public reserve for a bit of the old.
Oh, the little bongachinos. Yeah, the
bongachinos.
But the worst place.
That makes me pineapple depressed.
Pineapple depressed. It is pretty grim. Yeah. Well, that's a good segue into the Borough Park or the bike park, which you would use as a walk home on the way back to ours from either Fusions or.
For listeners, disclaimer here: the geography of the Shire, Baronier Bay Park, or the bike park, as we like to call it. It was built on the side of a bushland reserve that leads into the bay there.
Yeah.
Now, it would have been the Garden of Eden back in the 80s and 90s, but as more people kept encroaching in on it, a lot of storm water happens, a lot of feral cats, a lot of bongs, a lot of junkies, a lot of this sort of stuff people throw the park. So it kind of exists in this weird way of, from an outside point of view, it looks quite wholesome. But it just becomes the well-known by foot shortcut that you do if you live in South Carringbar and you need to walk from South Carringbar down to Cronulla Beach to go to Norvies to get a route.
Problem is at night, after a certain time of night, it does become a bit of a spot to have a bit of a fiddle in the bushes, I imagine.
Oh yeah, yeah. It gets very much like either a Tim Burton film or like Ichabod Crane with the headless horseman, like whoa. And you're too pissed because you've just been down the Sunday sesh at Northies, so you're stumbling around going, on your Nokia 360 going.
your flimsy phone light going, there better not be anyone out there.
And there's always some hobo touching himself under a eucalypt tree.
I remember when I was young. I probably would have only been about 14, walking back with my mate, so going to his house or whatever to sleep over. And then we heard this like the bushes. And there was this like big fat guy laying down on the ground in like, I think he had a shirt on but no pants, and he was just having like a wank like on the grass. And then he saw us, just stood up and go, whoa, and then just waddled off like in front of us. And we're going like, oh.
He didn't say something like, oh, gun's gone off.
Yeah. But he was like, just shuffled off, going, oh. But it was like he wasn't with anyone. So he would have just been looking up at the stars or something, just having a good old nature wank on the grass.
Just having a Milky Way.
Yeah,
Milky Ways.
Yeah, Milky Ways. Yeah. So that was very enjoyable.
But when like that sort of area, we all know as the cusp of Cronulla to Lillypilly Walk.
It's a good it's a barrier almost.
Oh yeah, it's a good 3K of agony that you do when you've like fallen over yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wondering about your position in the universe.
But it saves you so much time. It's worth it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have to. Well, back in the days, Uber didn't exist, so you had to do something. And you didn't want to also alert your parents to the fact that you were maggot, so you had to find a way of getting yourself home unannounced. But yeah, I do remember there was a couple of other urban legends around that area that people have a good snigger about.
Oh, yes.
And it's the porn stash of Tonkin Oval.
Yeah, that was probably a bit before my time, but I'm aware.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. But we're talking like the heyday of like the 90s, the early 90s. And it was back then, the internet was a fickle beast that required you to unwind it.
Actually, dial it up.
One side of the house to the other to dial up. Just to be able to get one off, and it'd be terrible. And so when it was stuff like, you'd find out about the porn stash when you were in early high school or late primary school or whatever. And it was in Tonkin Oval, it's this large, overgrown baseball field down near Ganamata Bay. Yeah. And there was a big stormwater drain And to make sure that the landscape hadn't like slided out during storm weather, they'd put a whole bunch of fake turf that ran up the side of the train line and the hill to hold all the plants and the roots
that's right.
together.
Yeah.
That also meant that that's like a large carpet, so you could kind of roll it up. And some crazy person had dumped about a decade's worth of porn underneath the carpet. So all one had to do was like, I've struck porn gold, me boy, and dig it up. It was just so many issues of terrible, terrible debaucherous stuff. And it was known. It was just like the in thing that every male kid, at least,
Do you imagine it's like Shawshank Redemption?
Kilometer radius knew about it.
Do you imagine it's like Shawshank Redemption? He's in the rain with like this big sack of porn, and it's the rain, the lightning's falling down on him.
Yeah.
Going, just like burying it in his sack.
Either that, or it's like fucking Bruce Springsteen walking by, but he's like looking real sweaty and worried, and he's like, "Oh, city of brotherly."
Yeah, Streets of Philadelphia. Yeah. he's leaning up against fences, like, yeah. Too many wanks for Bruce. Yeah,
his hands all feeble from how much he's used it.
Yeah.
But so that was always a funny one. And we need to talk about, these are our early memories. Now let's get into our formative years of
the rite of passage.
The rites of passage of
Yeah.
Where will be your stomping ground, your watering hole?
Well, it was almost a routine, wasn't it? You start off at the RSL.
Yep. Another RSL that you needed to know and remember, son.
Well, I became a member because I'm top dog. Yeah.
No,
So
you're top
I
dog,
wanted my cocktail discounts on my Stoinkers, which is a classic green disaster concoction of just pure sugar and strawberries. Sorry, bit of a burps.
Ours was this drink called the Shrek.
It's probably the same thing with
Shrek.
green.
Yeah, fluoro green.
Yeah, it's the same. So they
gave it a pint glass, and it was a shot of that terrible like blue vodka.
Yeah.
Then a shot of Midori.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
And then a shot of the weird like yellow vodka. Then they mixed it with pineapple juice.
Oh, okay. Yours is a bit more.
So it was like fluoro green, the color of Shrek.
Yeah.
And it cost you like $5, $6.
You were sugar mutt. Yeah.
So when you're a student studying at the University of Wollongong, best uni, blah, blah.
The Oxford of the surf curve.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You'd end up being completely sozzled after 3 Shreks.
Absolutely.
So we used to have a saying, 3 Shreks and you're wrecked.
That would be true. And we were.
Somebody wants
doing bogs on the side of the street like an animal.
Yeah. But so, if you wanted to get a date, if you wanted to have a bit of a dance, you would head down to Cronulla Mall and you would attend a little sorry nightclub called Fusions.
And it's gone now, guys. So you're all
gone.
Yeah, there's no chance.
Missed that landmark of high culture in the East Coast.
You're crying at home. Yeah.
And its famous tagline was 2 rooms, 2 worlds. Which basically meant 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah. It was funny because they got rid of the two rooms, 2 worlds, and then just before they closed down, they re-brought it in because they're like, it worked before, guys. It could work again. And they tried to.
So they could do a double apocalypse.
Yeah. And it was just a mess. Yeah.
And all they did was just play Delirium's "In This World."
Oh yeah.
It's like on repeat.
And there might be a Shaggy, It Wasn't Me, if you want a bit of a going on.
Yeah. And then a hell of a lot of 50 Cent in the club.
Oh yeah. Popping bottles in the club. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Incredible.
And then, of course, if you couldn't get into Fusions or you're too drunk, you'd end up going to Norvies. Of course, that even that place has died down these days. I think Corona's ruined a lot of these places. Oh, there was Sting Bar as well. That shut down. But,
in one sentence, explain Norvies to someone.
Norvies. Oh,
because I've got my saying. I want to hear yours.
Well, if you could spend a day in Paul Gallen's brain, like on the pier. I think it would probably be his wet dream or like his idea of heaven. Like he's passed through the pearly gates, and then it's all his boys. They go, Gallon, he's back, and it's like everyone just drinking to his new, and watching the footy, and then yelling at each other, and then a lot of fake tan as well. Everyone's got a sheen.
That was a bit more than a sentence, but that was a pretty good description. Yeah. Now, to be polite, ask mine.
Yeah, what's yours, Sam?
Well, now that you've asked.
Oh, just mum.
I was going to say, it is the personification of surf and turf.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But way more girls with disappointing sex stories.
Oh, what was the one Gab was telling us about the chick that shat herself in the toilet?
Yes. So you've just thrown our sister under the bus. It was not her, but she
it wasn't
was.
Gab, it was someone else.
A miscellaneous person that was our sister that wasn't our sister. We went to a family function, which is, trust me, it was a very high art ordeal. We decided to have a nightcap at the local Northeast. And we went down there, and there was a bit of a queue to get into the ladies' room. I don't know why, but
it's out of the picture.
Unfortunately, there had been a bridesmaids party previous that afternoon, and someone had passed out on the seat, fallen off the seat, but continued to defecate while that had happened. So when the bouncer decided to check out what was on the toilet, he put his head under the stall like, oh, what's going on? And then was seen with a very awful view. And then they had to escort the young missus out of the venue.
Yeah,
so that was a regular Sunday afternoon at Northies while you hear the in this world,
and you feel it.
And then someone just went, as they vomited, they went, the season's passed to the Sharks.
Could I offer you season's pass?
Yeah. It's in ET's Family Hill, brother. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
It's near the Family Hill.
Yeah. I'll meet you near the Family Hill.
I'll be in all sorts. There was also what's the other great place? There was Hunters as well. And I think it got changed to Spear nightclub. That was in Sutherland.
So the Hunter just left his shit behind.
I think the Hunter left. He took his dosh, and
the Hunter was over it. The Hunter was knocked up. He didn't care anymore. Yeah.
But that was great because if you're at Boyles and you've had a few cheeky old browns, then you're like, oh, I kind of feel like having a dance, having a cheeky laugh. Well, I don't know. Hunter and see what the hunting season's going on.
Yeah. Hunters was way rougher, in my opinion, than any Northern.
Absolutely.
It was where the riffraff would mingle.
Yeah, a lot of people that are banned from.
Where you got to see a side of life, the other side of the Shire tracks.
Yeah.
And it was a great place to go if you wanted an orange juice and vodka for $6.
Absolutely.
But
yeah. So we can't talk about the show without mentioning the greatest burger place of all time, which is Paul's famous hamburgers.
Yep.
Yeah. I reckon that's an institution
fantastic.
that has to be talked about.
Talk to the people, Jacob, about their opening hours and just how good they are, that they don't need to be a lackey to the man.
What's this with the hamburger place?
Yeah. Oh, did you know that they're only open 3 days a week?
Well, and they're open so efficient. It's an efficient place where I've ordered it, right? I'm in the line. They take the order in the line. And by the time I get to the counter, they've cooked my burger. They have my pineapple juice ready. And I'm
They paid your HEX debt and they made you bed.
And they've given me a blowjob. We get out the door. And it's a great place. It's an institution. And there's only like 3 things on the menu. That's all they need. And it's amazing. I imagine that's what the first McDonald's would have been like. It's like I
think so too.
And you're walking through like, man, we need to like build this thing again, like build more of them. It's amazing.
I noticed, have you noticed that there's always the fancy sauce boy that works there? Like they've got everyone has like every cog in the system.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's all the same family of the Pauls.
Yeah.
And you'll have that guy at the back, and his literal job. So if anyone doesn't understand what we're talking about, it's a hamburger joint near a highway, near a bridge, leading out of the Shire. It's like your last port of call. And it's a fantastic family-run institution of the best old school style hamburgers and
classic
chips.
Aussie hamburger. Yeah.
And they're so old school that they've got those 38 flavors of milkshakes with stuff like coconut fart and green blue mist, like flavors that don't exist in real life, but they seem to have it, and it's all in those big weird vats that go. And they get you high when you drink them. It's amazing. So you go there, and they've got 30 people out the back, and they're all doing their orders, but they all have their specific roles to play. Yep. And there will be a guy, and his job is literally with a big Heinz ketchup to go.
Like a milk cutter.
That's it.
Yeah.
Whole shit. And they'll be like, onion lass. And she's like, oh, my eyes. I cry. I cry not
baddest woman in the world. Yeah.
I cry not for the onions, but for the loss of human life across the globe.
I do it for all. Yeah, but I had a joke that like when they go home for dinner, they've just done burgers all day. Then the old man Paul come out and go, dinner is served, and it's this huge metal plate of burgers stacked, like and then and they like Scooby Doo. They're just like,
oh, I thought you were going to say something like, do we have to? And he goes,
this house
nuts. Yeah, the very walls of this house are made of burger.
There's a weird smell in the room, and he's put the bricks of oil and and
his car is just patties rolling.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of institutions in the Shire that everyone needs to know about. And one of them is Lady Hill's Fish and Chip Shop.
Oh, yeah, can't forget about Lady Hill. That's near us. That's near our hood.
Yep, and it's gone down. Let's face it. It
hasn't been the same
thing. It's fallen south of the mark. Yeah. But as a landmark, it's very important because when you're walking home from Caringbah Station to the upper crust of Lillipilly.
Creme de la creme. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like when people look at, say, a party from The Great Gatsby, how he's like across the water going, something happens.
Loft.
It's like the rest of the Shire looking at Lillipilly going,
oh.
They'll realise. But when you do that walk between Caringbah Station and Lillipilly, it's a good 2.5, 3K. And it's only that slightly irritating level of angle where it's
at the top of Lady Hill
enough to get annoying and sad, and it goes at that all the way up. And we call it the never-ending road. Like we all sing it like in the same way as the never-ending story, the never-ending road. And when you're pissed and you've got one shoe and your battery and your phone's died and your iPod's ran out,
beetroot and all sorts of
your best mate threw up on your new like high tops, and then you realise that you just see the lights to Lady Hill and you know that you're only at halfway.
And they're not even open to give you a battered sad.
You start going.
Well, that's when I did the drunk walks home in the shower and I started going, and I start like screaming.
I've actually done that. Yeah, I do that. Agonizing
over it. This is before there was no Ubers. It's just like a never-ending walk. That I'm sure my brother that live in Grays Point feel the same thing. This is in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Yeah.
Grays Point. It looks good on a postcard. It's not so good for logistics.
No, it isn't. Yeah, it looks great when you're doing the real estate check, but yeah, once you start doing a few of those walks, then
it's like a way of looking at mangroves, right? When you go to a mangrove swamp, it looks cool. You ever put your foot in one?
Or you smelt it 2 times a day? Like when it's
you put your feet in a mangrove swamp, and then it goes.
Well, you'd be like that horse in Never-Ending Story. You would fall.
Yeah, and then it's like you uncover the sins of past lives when the smell comes out. And you're like,
Or the crab sadness. Yeah.
Yeah, crab sadness. That's a great album title.
Yeah.
Get Dillon in Crab
Sadness. Well, it's like the book I'm writing, Man Eating Crabs.
I've
only been working on it for 7 years. It's going to be
What's the tagline going to be? It'll get you out of the
Landing
pins.
crabs, then it's the disaster movie without the disaster.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's got to be good. It's got to finish it.
So you're still in the Shire. See, I managed to elope a few years back, but you're still well and truly ingrained in there.
Well, I work
Jake,
in
where are you working? What suburb do you work? Talk us
Well, I
through
work
that.
in Kirrawee, and Kirrawee's changed a lot in the last probably 5
How
years.
so? Tell us how.
There's built this thing called the Brick Pit. So that's these huge towers of apartments, which is bringing in basically a whole new community. And it's like a gentrification of the whole area, basically. So there's all new playgrounds, new trendy cafes. And it's pretty much just happening all over the Shire at the moment. There's a lot more real estate. And it's basically turning into like a Bondi where it's overpriced cocktail jugs, lots of coffee and hipster and vegetarian food type thing. Because when I was growing up, like when I was 18, 17, there wasn't really much of it. It's just in the last 5-10 years, it's been a really big push for, it's probably all over Australia, I guess, but a lot of push for like hipstery, like independent type thingos, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty much gentrification of the area where it's a lot of things and people are prepared to pay a lot more for quality instead of just being obsessed with cheap quantity, I guess, is the best way to
see.
So for example, I work at a craft brewery, which there was only one craft brewery, I think 5 or 6 years ago, which was Shark Island. Now there's like 3 or 4 in the Shire. So it's slowly growing. It's not Marrickville yet, but it's slowly becoming a mix between that industrial and gentrification.
So are you a priest of the East?
I'm becoming a priest of the East. I think so. I think the East has definitely taken control of my bowels lately. But no, I'm all for it. I think the show was definitely needed it. It reached its peak boganism, I think, when I was about 18. That's when Norby's and Fusions was crazy. But then they started closing down, like the Sting and even Norby's is suffering. I've never seen it busy really, except for Anzac Day or a Paul Gallen fight. It's changed a lot in the Shire, I think. And I think, there's still a lot of the oldies that refuse to let it die down. Like I had people grab me when they're drunk going, Shire, 10 years ago, where were you?
Where were you?
Where were you, mate? You should have been there.
You're like, I was on the debate team at Dillons.
Yeah. I was in bed wanking, pretending I had a fever. Yeah.
I said it was glandular. It was.
It was a different dance you possibly couldn't understand.
So what are you drinking there, Jacob? You got anything there?
I just got some black beer juice.
Beer juice.
Like a dessert stout I got. I'm not going to say which brewery it's from. I don't want to throw them on the bus, but it's terrible. I'm pretty disappointed. I paid like 25 bucks. I paid 25 bucks.
I'm currently sucking back on, how do you say it?
Kozel or Kuzel? Kozel?
Kozel. It's the juice of the goat.
It's Slovakian, isn't it, that one? Or is it Czech, like Eastern European?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a ram.
Yeah, the troll went over the bridge and the billy goat was like,
Have him a beer.
Fucking get around him, son. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah, good beer, that one. Doesn't give you a hangover either.
Oh, yeah.
It's pure.
Doesn't give you, sound so English then. Doesn't give you a hangover then.
Doesn't give you a hangover then, pure.
It doesn't there.
I also bought a few of those giant Russian cans. You know, the ones that are like this big?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
They're like a litre. I bought one 8%, looked at it. It's like 6.7 standard drinks.
The only sound bite in your head as you looked at it was this.
My eyes just go red. I'm like,
A couple of bears in chains going.
So I'm tempted to smash it after this and just see like how pissed I get, really, and then just go to bed.
Yeah, well, what have we got to live for, eh? I just lived through an earthquake today.
You've been in your own disaster movie today, yeah.
I have. Morgan Freeman just kept coming in on my lunch break going, we need to survive.
Yeah. He goes, he tries to sacrifice himself. He's like, you go, Sam.
Yeah.
Go home to your wife. It's too late.
Jeff Daniels as the president's like, you're a good man, Sam.
I want you to leave. And then he just looks out the window. He's like, take my wife, would you, Sam? He's like, I'm not going to make it.
She's got years ahead of her.
I'd rather stay with the wounded. Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, what's our parting advice about the Shire for a person that wishes to visit these days?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Go to Loaf Cronulla, I reckon. They make a good sandwich. Yeah.
Loaf?
Yeah. Have you been there yet? Have I taken it there yet?
What a name, eh?
Yeah, it's good that they live up to the name. It's very thick sandwiches. They're pretty good and they're very friendly.
Yeah.
If you're in there and you want a nice wholesome sandwich, go down to the Loaf, mate. Treat yourself.
Yeah. Taking me and the missus down to Loaf.
You're going for a swim as well. The water's always beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, that's very wholesome ending there, Jacob. Well done.
What's your advice?
So, anyways, yeah, I'm up there every now and again if someone wants a bit of, blow-in culture. Jacob's up there in Kirrawee doing his thing. So let's all just slowly put a knife in the back of where we grew up.
I think we were pretty kind. Yeah.
I think we've definitely skirted over the board here.
Yeah. Yeah. Have a good night, guys. Everyone look after yourselves. And,
that was number 5. Stay sane, stay alive.